Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 519, and today we're doing battle with Elite Dragons. And so this will be our first Elder Dragon video of Fate's Voyage Beyond. It's surprising it's taken us this long to get here, as he is massively popular across the ladder. But in terms of the Elder Dragon, as we talked through the set and discussed it in the previous season, I felt like there were going to be three different flavors of Elder Dragon decks, right? Number one, you have the big OTK style of thing, which I haven't seen up to this point. It kind of bleeds in with the version number two as to where you're just playing Elder Dragon to get him on the board, right? If you just get that level one Elder Dragon on the board, it's probably enough to finish the game, right? With a 13-13 fearsome challenger and all that nonsense that he does. But then the last version of this was just playing the Elder Dragon to get access to the boons and getting access to the 6+ cost units throughout the course of your deck. And so I felt like one of the first places to really kind of go in and investigate the Elder Dragon in that kind of deck is going to be within Elites. Elites has a lot going for it in terms of what the Elder Dragon can do. It's a deck that's fairly self-sufficient in terms of being all within Demacia and not needing to run other factions to function, right? This is a deck that you typically play entirely in Demacia, and then we would do stuff like Splash Rite of Negation or Splash Deny. You just have one or two other cards outside of the faction since everything is so tight-knit within Demacia. But it also has a very high-powered collection of 6+ cost cards. It has really everything that you're looking to get out of the Elder Dragon if you're chasing after this theme of just playing the dragon for the 6 cost card effect. And so the big unit coming out of this is going to be the Ardent Tracker. This is a unit that we can play for less than 6 mana as it sees us play elites. It comes down on the board cheaper and cheaper. This is kind of the premier reason within elites to actually chase after this Elder Dragon theme. What you'll often find with the Ardent Tracker is that you'll have a Battlesmith on board and you're going to get the boon, and so you're just playing this 5/7 elite for 4 or 5 mana, and then with it having Scout, it's able to just be an absolute combat monster. If it's able to pick up something like Challenger or pick up Tough or pick up Impact, very powerful abilities in terms of having a Scout unit. To continue on the theme of the Scout units, we're going to be playing Genevieve. Genevieve does essentially the same thing as to where she has Scout and Challenger. She costs 6 mana. She activates the boon. She boosts the go wide theme. Everything that we're looking to pull off with this kind of deck, Genevieve really comes in and adds to it. To tie in with the Scout units that we're playing, you can swing over to the spells and find Cataclysm. Cataclysm is one of these cards that plays fantastically with Scout units as it lets you generate rallies on your opponent's turn. If you're not familiar with what you can do with Cataclysm, if you have not made a Scout attack yet, a Cataclysm on a Scout unit will count as a Scout attack. So if it's your opponent's attack token, you Cataclysm an Ardent Tracker into a unit, that counts as a Scout attack, you get the attack token back. Or if it is your own attack token, say you open attack with your entire team, that counts as your normal attack for the turn. You then Cataclysm your Scout unit into something else. That counts as your Scout attack. You get to rally, and then you get to attack again. And so very powerful combinations that you get with Cataclysm tied in with the Scout units, in addition to our units just being pretty meaty and beefy as it is. And so as far as this deck goes, I have seen some flavors of the Elder Dragon deck running around, doing a touch of research on runeterra.ar. There's a lot of people that just aren't playing spells. That's absolutely bonkers. You most certainly want spells within this deck. That is the place to where the give and take and the figuring out of things is going to take a bit of time. Figuring out how many spells you can fit in here, how expensive they can be, cramming in enough stuff to where you have a good early game curve, but you still have a bit of interactivity. I'm not completely sold on the mix here, outside of still wanting Champion Strength, wanting Cataclysm, and then still wanting some copies of Form Up. But the other thing that I don't often see out of this deck is Jarvan. Jarvan is a fantastic unit to be out here using with the likes of the Scout units. If you're not familiar with that, you can make a Scout attack. Jarvan comes down from your hand and hits the opposing unit, and then he just gets to attack again because he was a piece of that Scout attack. So that's well and good with the things that we're already doing. But it also turns out Jarvan costs 6 mana. You don't have to be ultra clever with this. You can say, hey, Bust, can I just cast Jarvan? Sure, you can. You can cast Jarvan, get a boon on him, and just straight up attack. That's a familiar thing that you're able to do. You'll probably see that come up today. Last but not least, he makes it a little bit better to be playing the King. King Jarvan is fantastically powerful. In addition to having access to Jarvan, he gives us this scout-based ability, and then he also boats up the Jarvan if we need him. And so, nice addition to the top end of this deck. And so, that's it. That's what we're doing battle with today. There's no need to pay up on the pay-to-win price. Everything in here is already premium, minus the Elder Dragon. And so, we should be good to go. Oh yeah, let's see. All right. Get those elites into battle. It's been interesting as far as like, I feel like the past 3 or 4 seasons, as far as making our way into Masters, we've just done it with elites. Like I always get on this kick as to where like I get to like Diamond 2 and there's an elites deck that really interests me. And then I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna, I'm gonna finish things off this way today. But I think with this one, we'll probably just finish off the video with elites and then switch back to, the Yuumi deck, just so that we can say that we did it. We Rico Rexed our way into the into the stratosphere, if you will, and then we can swing back to the regular zone. But all right, up against Volibear. Let's see how the other Elder Dragon stacks up here. So, excuse me, this is one of these spots to where the kind of downside to what we have here is we don't have any unit boosters at this point, and so our units are kind of weak. It is a fairly strong curve, but if he starts like avalanching our Cythria and our Vanguard Sergeants away, it's a bit of a problem. But here we go, getting the start with the Ardent Tracker. Very excited to see what we can pull off here with the double unit in the Silverwing Vanguard, and then being able to kind of directly Cataclysm it. And so we'll see. Get the good stuff going right at the start. So here, I'm not going to open attack. I definitely want to be getting these units on board so that we get the cheaper price on the tracker. If he does come out and have an avalanche or something, it kind of sucks, right? But I don't think the open attack is worth it. Like, I don't want to be in this spot to where we open attack, you know, he blocks Cythria, he keeps his unit, and then we just follow up with Silverwing Vanguard, and nothing really gets accomplished. And so I think this is good. It's like, even if he did have it, the cards to worry about don't annihilate our board. Like, Avalanche would be bad because he could then take the Prophet and block the Vanguard Defender, and that's kind of meh, but I think it's still worth the risk there. Now we're just about to annihilate this guy. Let's do this. Let's add in Cythria. I'm just going to go ahead and drop the tracker at this point. We could get it for free with the Squire, but we do lose out on... we lose out on our ability to Cataclysm. So Deathless wasn't the biggest hit, right? We definitely could have found some better keywords there, but it does let us keep the Scout up and running for the next turn, assuming the opponent survives this somehow. He does not. GG. Getting to do it in game 1. Feels good. Feels good. You get that cost reduction, get the boon, get the Cataclysm. You gotta dig it. You gotta dig it. It's in the rulebook. You gotta play elites and then love everything that's happening. It's on page 3. Alright, so what do we got here? Up against Ashe LeBlanc. This is typically a pretty challenging matchup. We'll see if he's got anything crazy in here. If he's trying to play whatchamacallits, if he's trying to play the dogs. I do not think the dog is good in Ashe LeBlanc, but nobody ever agrees with me, so it's what's it matter? So this is one of these spots as we do kind of think about the dog. It's like, do we need to hang on to this Cythria so that potentially on turn 3 we can Badger Bear and play Cythria? I don't think that's going to come about. The curve here is still fine as far as getting these other units on board goes. Now here I'll still add the unit. If we trade Broadwing for Glory Seeker, I'm fine with it. There's not a ton that we have to get around that. The thing that would have been an actual disaster for that turn is if he would have passed, right? If he plays the Glory Seeker and then just passed and we're just hanging out on that 2 mana, like, I do not feel particularly good about that angle. Now with this, we don't want to just be making trades. We want to be building up board, getting as much stats as we can off of the Garen and off of these other cards. Well, good job, I guess. Just immediately blasting into Yeti. Okay. So how do we approach this? Like, we can go like double Cytheria into Garen, but I don't think that really gets us where we want to be. I'm looking to just play, I think, Vanguard Defender and Cytheria, and then next turn we're just going to play 4 Demacia. So we'll just have to take the 8 off of this attack if he comes in. The fucking Yetis. Okay. Alright, next turn. It's not even that great of an attack now with the 4 Demacia. I think we still want to do it, but it's like one of these attacks that just doesn't win the game. Sure.
Courage, soldier.
Like killing off Armed Acquisitioner and Omen Hawk is 2 of the kills we get. Does not feel particularly good.
Only the finest serve. A real battle.
But, I mean, I guess we do still at least get to build up some board. We'll have a full board for the Garen turn on the next go-around. His attacks with the Yeti aren't that great anymore, right? The Yeti just ends up trading with a little Cytheria, and so it's kind of fine, I guess. I'm not excited about any of these words we're making, but I think it's fine. Do we just want to give up on everything? Well, the Sergeant's not going to be bigger than anything next turn, but I think we want to make this swap. If he's going to come in with a Sky Splitter, I don't want to be losing the Vanguard Defender to the Assessor, and so Elixir of Irons are fine. We wouldn't have won that combat anyways, but Sky Splitter is a fairly big problem here. Sure. Let's just we have to get this Yeti off the board before Garen comes down. Oh my god, just have it all. Just have it all, they say. Immediately land on your Yeti and then just have all the tricks. I mean, I think we're okay. Like, he's kind of far from lethaling us at this point, but it's been a fairly frustrating angle of cards at this point. But his last thing in hand is the Explorer thing. So we should be at least okay in that sense. Garen can come in now. He's going to get the boost, so he should be able to attack on this board. This is probably as good as it gets.
I know a challenge when
We'll lose Garen next turn to the Glory Seeker, but that's fine. And then, like, I have to imagine that our top end is just better than our opponents, right? We haven't drawn any of our expensive stuff. We have plenty of big things that we can hit. And then, you know, we are pretty close to just casting the Elder Dragon. If we pick up a couple of big cards, we can just immediately pop off and play him for the 10 mana, you know? That is one of the things that is a capability with him, you know? You just play it. It's not in here as a landmark, and so we'll see. Still again, got a ton of expensive spells. Garen for a Judgment is still a pretty good draw. We've got a lot going on here. So let's take the Hextech Prowess. Give the tracker the +3/+3. That's annoying. Alright, well, maybe we'll get there eventually. Come on, Elder Dragon, we got to get you on board. There we go. There we go. If we can survive this, that's not good. You don't want to see your opponent drawing that many cards at this point, but he's got a shot.
Stand with me, brothers and sisters.
If he wants to play those cards, we get the chance to just attack here, right? So Acquisitioner comes in. I mean, I guess Jarvan is really the only safe attack at this point. It's kind of a bummer. Kind of a bummer. Give me a Cataclysm too. That's what we need. We need Garen. We need him to drop that Cataclysm now. What? Oh, he takes tough off? Sure. I can live with that. Wow. Interesting.
You face a prince. I'm a smith, not a soldier.
So do we ever get overwhelmed some way here? I don't think we do. I think I'm leaning towards this, right? We can give up on our units here, but we're going to get to Elder Dragon next turn, and we're going to get to Cataclysm next turn. And so, like, he's going to have to start responding to this stuff that we're doing.
Ours is but to do and die.
Do we get enough impact just to win this way? You get the double impact. Oh, shit, that's how we should have just won the game. That's how the game should have been won, huh? You just get the double impact on your dragon. He didn't even take it off, right? In that last game, he yeah, we should have taken that one down. That's crazy. That's crazy. Man, I completely missed on that. I got to get more familiar with playing the Elder Dragon. We'll call this one a win, right? We'll call this a win. Okay, he's bringing in a Naka. Just bringing in the emotes. We don't deserve this game anyways, and so it is what it is. You know, the Anaka did not matter there. The thing that mattered was coming into the next turn, rallying, having an impact 2 unit. Oh no, it only has impact 1, doesn't it? Okay, I guess that's kind of a way out of it, in the sense that when you get 2 +1/+1s, but you only get a single impact, right? I'll have to pull up the dragon and double check. I've been out here playing real cards the past couple of days. I haven't been out here playing all these dragon cards, you know. Let's check on that real quick. Where's it at? Grant +1/+1 and impact twice. Yeah, so we punted that one. Duly noted though. It hit me a turn too late. I played the Elder Dragon and was like, oh no, we're not even going to deal any damage. And then I saw the opponent was 2 and I saw he had impact and I was like, oh wait, maybe we could have done this. Maybe it would have been okay. Now, it would have been like kind of scary on the previous turn, right? Like in the space that if you make that attack and he has a flash freeze and kills off the dude, then you're just going to be completely dead. And so there's some argument to not do it, but we were so close to dead at that point anyways that it might have been worthwhile. Is this guy even here? Turns out he is. So I'm not going to trade Cytherea on the first turn. I'm still going to do this thing to where we hold on to her for a round so that we can play the Broadwing, maybe give it Challenger a couple of turns from now. There's a bunch of valid units within these Riven decks that you can kill with a 1 health Broadwing, and so I think it's got a fair amount of potential here. Also gives us a bit of a chance to draw some of those card cheapeners, right? If we pick up an Ardent Tracker with this Cytherea, we'll be getting a little bit more value as to where it's not really doing anything on this board.
It's my time.
Yeah, I'll trade the bird for whatever combat trick he has. It's not that big of a deal. Thinking on it hard. Maybe we weren't supposed to block. Maybe we weren't supposed to block.
New recruit reporting in.
So nothing comes in. Do we want to go ahead and add the Vanguard Squire? I don't think so. The banking up to 3 is pretty decent when we have the 2 Cataclysms, and we can play almost every elite in our deck. Like this was a pretty terrible draw in Jarvan, but there's like a 75% chance we draw a card that we actually want to get on board this turn. So let's just go ahead and hit. We miss out on 3 points of damage this way, which is a bit unfortunate, but very easy for him to just have a bigger unit this turn. That guy. That guy's the prime example. But I think we should still be looking okay on this next round. Like, there's a lot of potential to get a really good Garen rolling here.
I shall show them what it is to fall.
My heart and sword for Demacia.
So no need to get too crazy with the Cataclysms. Like, how much of this do we want to just give up on, right? We know that we're going to be, like, dropping Jarvan next turn, but we don't need to open attack with Jarvan. We'll just take whatever combat trick he has. If it's a Pale Cascade, that feels pretty good. If it's a... There shouldn't be too much more beyond that. Like, I expect our Garen here to die like 100% of the time, but this unit's going to go with it. Okay. I can live with that.
Welcome, anguish.
So do we... I don't think we need to... Let's hang on to the thing. The question here is, do we want to play Jarvan with the boon? I think that's the kind of spot that I'm in. I think that's where we want him to be.
I will fight for Demacia till the day
And then we can just follow up with Cataclysm. Right, he's never blocking with Morgana, so we might as well just get the good stat line on him. Well, that's a bit of a bummer. A bit of a bummer there. I think he's still safe. We'll save these Cataclysms in case a real unit turns up. Still not bad this turn, right? If we get to Cataclysm off the Jarvan. Interesting. Alright, let's take it. At least make some good usage out of that barrier. That's annoying.
Accept your darkness.
Heartbeat Gam.
Alright, so what's this? We just fell to like 12 or so. It still feels pretty safe. And we gonna find ourselves trying to just say play champion strength next turn.
I'm actually here.
Seems legit. Man, this just feels like another one of these games to where we might just legitimately be casting Elder Dragon. It's not that crazy of a thing to be doing.
I trained for this.
All right, let's advertise the combat trick here. I don't think he really wants to be blocking with Morgana anyways, but we'll offer it up like that's a thing that he could do. And we'll look to champion strength. Almost dead. He fell to 4 fast. I don't know. I guess he did come in and take 2 hits from Jarvan, but how do we feel about this? The champion strength doesn't seem that spectacular anymore, but I also don't want to just die next turn.
Prepare yourself. We move soon.
This is a unit that frights me in terms of the overwhelms coming in. Let's just try and get it off the board.
My story ends.
Like, I assume these Riven decks try and kill, like... It has to be playing the Might package, right? So he's trying to, like, Might Riven or Might the Enraged Fire Spitter. If we roll into the next turn, we just don't have a great answer to the Fire Splitter with Might. But, he's got to block Cythria here. So he's not in a spot to where he can just take a 2-block and get out of this mess. Right, well, I guess he could. The fuck is this, a stun? Oh.
Feel my pain.
Groan. Groan, I tell you.
I'll do my best.
Steel's too good for you.
Okay, I can live with that though. As long as this dragon is gone, then I feel much better about the turn. Genevieve rolls through.
You leave me no other choice.
She's dead to this. She gets shackles everywhere. Looks like it. Sure thing. Interesting. That's the first time I've played against that. I think it went okay. Like, I think we picked up on what he was doing there properly, but we probably, like, as we sat there with all those cataclysms and everything, well, it's like the value in the champion strength play is it stops that dragon, right? But I think if we're just like cataclysming Morgana, maybe that was the angle, is instead of playing champion strength, we could have cataclysmed Morgana and then cataclysmed the dragon and got his two, legitimate options off of the board, but that doesn't fix anything on the following turn as to where that's tough. I need to play this match a few more times if it's going to be real. I don't think this is a real deck, but it's something worth checking out. So here again, I don't want Cythria. She doesn't really do anything against this deck. I don't want to be running her out against random value 2/1s. So we'll do the same thing. The Battlesmith was a good addition. We can now play Battlesmith on 2, and then on turn 3 have Broadwing Cythria. And she has a little bit of a more respectable stat line.
Of power linger in the air.
Devotion to battle.
So we'll just continue to take it slow. We'll add in the bird. Bird can get the good hook on the soldier. That's enough for the turn. We can add in Cythria after that. God, these cards are fucking annoying.
New recruit reporting in.
It's like, this is what we were doing in our first Morgana video, right? Just just being annoying as shit with all of these shackles.
What's a warrior but hands to wield a weapon?
The heart and mind to aim its strike.
Should be pretty safe here.
I'm cold, I'm hungry, and there's rocks in me boots.
And there's no need to just play the single. Well, there is reasoning to play single combat right now in the sense that he doesn't have the opportunity to get combat tricks next turn with his Riven. I think she's probably more important than Morgana. Let's go ahead and take her off the board.
Follow the horizon.
Whoa! Hey!
And we can fall to 8. I think this is fine. Like, I don't really want to trade away our units here. We're kind of building up to a 4 Demacia turn. Seems like it's kind of safe.
A Demacian soldier is worth 10
magic.
The question lies with the Broadwing, and do we want to get it involved with this board? I don't think so just yet. We can give him a chance to spend a little bit more mana, and then we can be like, oops, I will, oops, I will come in and attack with the Broadwing, but didn't feel like it was needed up to that point. He's gonna die to might again. He's got that mana lined up. He's got that 3 mana banked behind. Here comes the hook onto Cytherea, right? Interesting. And so if you have the might, you're gonna hook that 1 health unit. Overwhelm scene, yeah, same deal. Maybe we took too much damage in the early game. I don't know. I feel like I don't feel like that matchup's as bad as it looks. I think I'm like, if we were playing against Gwen, right? If we were playing against Riven Gwen, I would have this kind of mindset of I need to come out here and just prevent all of the damage so that I can potentially take an 11 damage hit. And when I see Morgana, I'm just like, yeah, I got so much time against Morgana. I'm not going to trade my units away. I'm just going to sit here and play for value forever because she's kind of control decky. And I think that that's just been a mistake across the board. I think we kind of gave those games away. It's not to say that we would have won both games, but I don't think I was giving the deck enough credit. But that's what we're here for. You got to learn a thing or two along the way, you know. All right. Not too much happening in the early game, but we got double tracker now. We're gonna pop off here fast.
The winds of change blow bitter cold. I will see you fail. I failed you, Volibear.
Are there any real punishes for this? Like on the next turn, we're going to. It's like he's got the avalanche mana lined up, but if he avalanches the entire board, like how much do we even care? I don't think it's that bad. And then you have these spots right to where he just doesn't have it, and we get to annihilate. I'm curious on the proper way to go about these. Like, I want to add 1 unit, but I kind of want to get the Broadwing. I guess there's not a ton of reason to be getting Broadwing onto the board. So tracker number 1, take the tough, no need to heal anything. Tracker number 2, about to come in. Say I'm ready to eat that harsh winds. Please deliver it to me. Please deliver the harsh winds. Right here. But doesn't have it. Okay. Okay. Alrighty, let's get ourselves 1 more battle in. We'll call it a day. Not bad. Not been a bad set of games. I feel like we've hit the mark on a lot of this stuff. Need to turn up some of the early the Gwen based matchups or the aggro matchups and have all of the flavors of the day. Mordekaiser nowhere to be seen. just really slow decks and really fast decks. It's been a bummer of a set for Mordekaiser. I'm kind of hoping things slow down a little bit and he gets the chance to shine. It's just like in the space that he was released right up next to the Elder Dragon, to where every Elder Dragon deck just has to be so super strong against Mordekaiser. It's just like he's naturally knocked out of the meta. Like, everybody knows that people are going to be out here playing the dragons, right? That's the way it works in every game with dragons. Like, I was kind of making a serious, not serious meme on Twitter about the space of the short Eternal season really kind of cutting into the bottom line at Riot, since a lot of the skins were tied into Eternal, right? If you wanted to get your like Twisted Fate skin or your Lulu skins or whatever from Hyperpop, there was like a week and a half, 2 weeks to where they were, you know, valid, and then they were removed, and nobody's going to play Eternal for another 2.5 months, and is, you know, kind of a bummer in that sense. But once I saw the spoilers come out and they were like dragons, I was like, oh, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Everybody loves to purchase a dragon. All right, another game of pretty reasonable build-up. We can drop the double bird this round if we want. Get the tracker cost down to 2. The Battlesmith is an interesting addition. It really messes with our curve though if we look to add him to the board. I think that's too much. Let's just get in double bird. We can't come in and just take 1 million damage this turn.
A brief engagement, but a joyous one. Seize control.
Biggs is Zed. Only a 5. I can deal with only a 5. Let's just take the clear on board. We take a big hit from the Living Shadow, but he's completely empty now. Seems okay. We can block his elusives with our 2 Badger Bears. I think we're in good shape.
Sturdy blades, custom made.
Steady blades, custom made. This is a bit unfortunate. If we had the access to 1 more mana and we could get this guy down a little bit cheaper, I'd be a touch happier. But do we ever want to heal? We're only missing out on 2 points of damage. I think I'm okay with that.
If we seek forgiveness, we
Okay.
must.
Definitely feels better after getting popped by the stagehand.
We cannot turn away.
Has he only played 1 Shark Chariot up to this point, or was this the second one? I don't remember. Can't see on here, right? Just 1 Shark Chariot. Got a blocker for him, sure. And then if he tries to get too clever, we can Cataclysm into his ephemeral unit and keep a lot of his stuff from coming on board. Not yet. I'm more than happy to take our blocks on the elusives. Yeah, so we'll definitely be too slow in terms of making Cataclysm work to stop the Shark Chariots, but we can say Cataclysm into the Greenglade duo, because he is going to have the hooks now off of this sapling. So I think I'm okay with this. We'll just go ahead and send the Ardent Tracker. It survives here, gives us the rally. I don't think we'll be attacking post-combat, but if he doesn't have any units, if he doesn't have any units, then we're going to be attacking post-combat. It's the wrong Badger Bear, my dude. Get your 8 attack sapling. Take our 5/5. There you go. He realized he was about to attack the Shadow Apprentice in. Oh, what you doing? Interesting. So we could probably just stop here. I mean, we do have a secondary Badger Bear in hand, but all of his units are going to suck next turn, right? We can let these ephemerals fall. We're definitely getting 2 units on the board after this. I like it. Like, we do lose out on those scout attacks, but, I mean, he's at 20. Okay. Now the king. Not the king, the sun.
I've got just the thing for you.
So we need some pretty good hits here to get out of this. The no play.
Hey, Krabby.
That's my
Gotta be feeling good here. Even if his play is the sapling generator so he would get a challenge, I think we're still in good shape. We have a block for the duo. Yeah, we're good. Okay.
Something great. Embrace your fate as I have mine.
Discipline and steel.
We are good. Let's drop the king next turn, get all the stats and stuff. That's why he's here. He's here to collect his boon, give us all scout. Don't get to do it. That's okay. GG, well played. We can pull this up a little bit more. And so, you know, fairly interesting deck. I feel like we got to touch on a lot of the highlights with this. We actually got to cast the Elder Dragon, and then we got to use a lot of this other stuff. You know, the scouts with the Cataclysm, always great. The Ardent Tracker being a great target for the boons. I feel like it's a pretty reasonable angle to come out and chase down elites with. The question you start to have to ask yourself is, like, doing this Elder Dragon based stuff better than just playing champion strength, or are we in a space to where, you know, the deck is happy to just have like 6 expensive units in it, and that's enough for the boons to come down on. Like, if you're out here physically just playing Ardent Tracker and Genevieve, like, it just cut out the King Jarvans completely, right? If the only 6 cost cards we're playing are Ardent Tracker and Genevieve and 2 copies of Jarvan, is that enough to really warrant playing the Elder Dragon? And that's where it's been, you know, kind of up in the air for me. I'm not entirely certain that I like how that feels, but this does fit in the kind of space to where I am happy with, like, adding in the king and getting the extra value aspects of it out of it like this. I think the main concern and the main problem with elites these days is those big OTK decks, right? We can manage against, like, the aggro Gwen style of decks, especially as we're playing spells. You know, it's like cycling back to some of those elites lists you'll see on runeterra.ar as we are out here playing spells and interactivity. I think those, you know, ephemerals based matchups are kind of fine. I think the ramp decks are fine. We didn't play against the more tuned ramp decks that actually play units in the early game, but getting quick access to 3/3s and stuff really helps against avalanches and against the opposing dog based units. This deck is quite good against all of the dog based decks because all of your units are just bigger than theirs. The space to where it struggles is against the OTK decks, and you know, in kind of a best in 3 environment, I feel like you can probably just ban out the OTK deck. There's not really the space to be bringing 3 of them, but it does hurt on the ladder if you're playing against a bunch of Riven decks. And so it just, like, adding in things like Purify isn't enough because it doesn't hit the champions. And so that's where I think the kind of interesting space will fall, is if, you know, elites are happy as is, you know, just have a bad matchup against Riven, fine, or if it tries to edit its ways into getting there. But otherwise, the other big question for this is going to be, are there any other expensive cards that you would like to play now that you have the Elder Dragon in your deck? And the ones that I've kind of scanned over, I haven't been super impressed with, right? I don't want to be playing Escalia. There's no there's no elemental cards within Demacia. I don't want to be playing any of the dragon stuff, right? The Cloud Drake is just too expensive. The play the boons on all of your dragons doesn't get enough dragon-based targets, and so I'm not really interested in any of those. The only thing that I really kind of came across that seemed, you know, reasonable would be the Noxus dragon. And, you know, if you don't have access to Overwhelm, I feel like Jarvan does a similar enough thing to where adding in that dragon doesn't really interest me, right? I think if we were wanting to add in that dragon to this deck specifically, we would probably just ignore the boon aspect and then just start playing Mites and Katos, right? You can do that within Demacia on its own, and so I think it would be in that kind of space. But interesting to see. You know, you do have bigger spells in Demacia like Tiana. She's still a fantastic expensive card to generate the rally. There's some other big boys along the way, and so Demacia has a lot of kind of prime targets as far as the boons go. But nonetheless, good set of games. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.